Okay, I'm calling to order regular city council meeting for the city of Hayden, Idaho. It's Tuesday, October 28th, approximately 5:02 p.m. May we get a roll call of council members, please?
Council President Roeder?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember DePriest?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Okay, would you join me, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance? Abby, would you lead us?
Yes.
Thank you.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I don't have any additions or corrections to the agenda. We're going to move into the first item, which is a proclamation. Every November 1st, we proclaim Extra Mile Day, which encourages every individual in the community to take time to not only go the extra mile in their own life, but to acknowledge all those who are inspirational in their efforts and commitment to make their organizations, families, community, country, and world a better place. So that is our proclamation for the day. We're going to move, and related to that, but not specific to the proclamation, is I would like to recognize Councilmember Ed DePriest. He completed a STEPS challenge, which raised $1,000 for the city. And that's something he did not have to do. In fact, it's actually called the Mayor's Step Challenge. So thank you for doing my job. So I do want to recognize that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to the consent calendar, which consists of approving the October 7th, 2025 special city council meeting minutes, approving the October 7th, 2025 city council and public safety commission joint meeting minutes, approving October 14th city council meeting minutes, approving the Veterans Commission recommendation for the 2025 Veterans Day ceremony guest speaker, approval of a change order 09C with MDM Construction Group for the Ramsey Road Gravity Sewer Phase 2 project, which I believe saved or was a reduction of almost $47,000. Approval of J 2025-00330 Woodman Subdivision Master Development Agreement, approval of JUB's contract amendment for final design of the Government Way and Miles Avenue intersection, approval of Tumbleweeds Tracks final plat, and acceptance of infrastructure and bills for payment. Any questions on the consent calendar, or would someone like to make a motion?
Sure. The motion that we approve the consent calendar items A through I as listed. Second.
Okay, is a motion a second? Any discussion on the motion being made? Get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Council President Roeder?
Yes.
Councilmember DePriest?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to move on to visitors' public comment. We have one person that wishes to do comment. I will advise, though, based on the subject, which is council behavior, that we cannot have a citizen directly attacking any specific council member. Okay, I just want to make sure that we're aware. So Amy, you have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you state your name and your city you live in?
Sure. Amy McCamley Hayden. And I know not to mention any council names, I already know the rules, but I do want to thank you, Mayor Davis, very much. So during this election season, we've seen a lot of horrible things on social media. And so thank you so much for setting the standard and not following suit to that. Just putting it out there. I don't know if there's any policies that are being broken, or as city council, things that you want to reflect on how behavior is taking place on social media. So there's 2 council people, I'm not going to mention them. Everyone knows who they are, and they know themselves, who were just on social media, just being horrible during this campaign season, just putting down constituents, really slandering people that are running for office. It's embarrassing. I mean, it's actually high school embarrassment. A couple of people from the urban renewal are doing the same thing. And I understand, we all want to win this race, but the way to win this race is to state what you're going to do for the city of Hayden, not to put people down. I'm embarrassed for our young people. We wonder why our young people do not want to get involved with politics. This is why. Who wants to? Who wants to run? Who wants to get involved when you can't even go on social media and put a simple post of who you're supporting or who you're voting for without being attacked? So again, I don't know if there's anything that can be done, but I would think that being city council and representing our city, that we could do better than this and that we should do better and just stop the attacks. And again, like I said, it's okay to have a different opinion and to put your platform of why you're running and what you're supporting, but the personal attacks is ridiculous. It's embarrassing to our city. I think our city is probably doing it the most right now. And I would just hope that Hayden could do better. And I appreciate, again, like I said, Mayor, I haven't seen anything that you've been putting out there, and I appreciate that because you're setting that standard. A couple of our other council people are not getting involved in it as well. So I'm just hoping that we can continue that standard and just stop the attacking on social media and wondering like why these other people are losing votes. It's because of how they're being treated. And then other people are seeing it. So thank you.
Thank you, Amy. All right, we're going to move on now to our commission reports. We have Parks, Recreation, and Community Forestry Commission.
Mayor, it's a written report that's included in the.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought we were having somebody, I know we had written commission reports also, but, all right, so council, you've got Parks, Recreation, and Community Forestry report. We also have our written, I believe, Veterans Commission report. And so those are there for your review. Unless there's discussion, we can just move on to our next item. Does council have anything they want to discuss specifically?
Arts Commission is also included.
And arts is in there also, thank you. Okay, I'm hearing none. We will move on now to item 5, which is a public hearing that will allow the public to provide testimony. It's action item PZE 250090, which is vacation of right-of-way request. I assume someone from staff will.
Yeah, I'm going, just not fast enough.
You're fine. Just verifying.
We had an update to the screen, it looks different. So tonight we're here for a public hearing on a request of a vacation of right-of-way. And so just some background. Vacations of right-of-way and/or vacations of easements are a process. They have the process and standards. They're found in Idaho state statutes. They're pretty laid out in detail on pages 3 through 7, and they're in detail because it's not a city standard that we're following. It's an Idaho state process in its entirety. And then agencies who may provide utilities, and more specifically underground utilities, receive notices, and those notices both got emailed, like in accordance to our normal noticing of agencies, but they also got mailed by U.S. Postal Service in accordance with those requirements. Those are provided, the summarized are provided on page 7 of the staff analysis, and as always, the full agency comments are in the staff review. And then there are some staff recommended conditions of approval that came out of those agency comments, and those can be found on page 8 of the staff analysis. Just as a matter of kind of background as you're kind of be redirected to those. So then the request for the proposed vacation area is this little triangular piece right here. The applicant is Olson Engineering, and representing them tonight is Jeremy Trezulli. He'll come up in a moment. And the applicant making the request, normally it's the owner of the property making a request, but it's city right-of-way, and the applicant is adjacent to that. That's the Marks Ranch LLC. I am going to turn that over to Jeremy.
Donna? Would you do me a favor for the public's? Can you give like just a 30 seconds of exactly what this means? Specifically, the applicant's asking the city to.
So the applicant is requesting that this piece of right-of-way that is owned by the city be vacated, which means the city would relinquish ownership of it back to the adjacent property owner.
Thank you. Perfect.
All right, Jeremy, you're up. Updates to the system.
That font looks way off. Is this my presentation? That's it. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Jeremy Terzulli. I'm a land use consultant working with Olson Engineering specifically tonight on behalf of the Marks Ranch LLC. And in all of my time of land use action, consulting, and doing this in all municipalities, this is my first request for right-of-way vacation. So if I fumble my way through it, allow me a little grace and I'll try to explain it the best I can. As Donna mentioned, so Marks Ranch LLC purchased this property going back about 6 or 7 years ago. I was actually involved in the annexation process and that whole negotiation and all of the annexation agreement all the way back around 2019, 2020. It's been a long time getting to this point in time. The Rocking R Road is mostly in and getting ready to connect down to the south on this one. Little background in how we got here, and I might jump around a little bit on these slides, so forgive me. This is the preliminary plat for phase 1 of the Marks Ranch subdivision. You see right here, this is Rocking R Road that will connect, end up going down the hill and make the connection to Rocking R down on the bottom side of the hill. This is what everybody around here, we call the knob up here. This right here is the old alignment of Lancaster. This is the new alignment of Lancaster, and I'm hoping to kind of explain how we got to this point right here. That's a zoom-in version of the same thing. And I have another slide that shows a little bit clearly. And just like I said, jumping around, I kind of want to move forward and then I'll come back. to
Jeremy,
this
just
one.
roughly for council's understanding, approximately how big's the triangle? 100
4 to
feet?
5,000 square feet,
45,000?
4 to 5,000.
4 to 5,000.
Yeah, I think it's about 160 feet right here by about 70 feet. Donna, am I right on that 4 to 5,000?
It says 4350 on the slide.
So I was right. Okay, and so Eric was supposed to present tonight. He's out of town. He asked me to fill in on short notice, so I did go over all of this, but I'm also bringing myself up to speed. So I want to show you this one first and then double back. So on our left, this is the old alignment of Lancaster, and some of you guys might remember that. This was all controlled by Lakes Highway District. This is where one of those jurisdictional overlaps occurs. This, I recall, this is going back around 2013, 2014. They owned this property, meaning they, Lakes Highway District, fee simple. So it wasn't a right of way. It was like, you know, you own your property. It's a fee simple ownership. My recollection is they used it as a surface mining pit for some of the projects in the area. And so at that point in time, when Lancaster got realigned to what you see on the right, there was no need to work out the right of way. They put it right through this fee simple land that they owned. There's now what's called a prescriptive easement on the alignment of Lancaster. And Donna, correct me if I'm wrong, but when the next phase of Marks Ranch goes in, I believe that right of way will get dedicated out of that piece. Am I right, wrong? Am I making stuff up?
That'll be cleared up, yes, in the future.
Okay.
In the future.
So, the realignment happened, the multi-use path stayed on the old alignment right here, and then Lakes Highway District retained these parcels right here that they owned fee simple up until, I want to say 2021 or 2022. At that point, the Marks Ranch folks went to Lakes Highway District. I was actually at that meeting, and we asked if they would have an interest in selling those because they no longer had a use for it. The surface mine pit was since defunct. The new alignment had happened. My clients purchased that off of the Highway District to help work through their park requirement of their subdivision. So that knob is going to become a component of the future city park in this area as a condition of annexation going back to 2019. I think I'm remembering all that correctly. So yeah, 4,300-ish square feet. As that alignment happened, again, the only thing that went through there anymore would be that multi-use path. That has since been realigned to look more like this. And I get it, I'm jumping around, but this is the old alignment. If you follow my cursor, that's roughly where it would have, dang it. That's roughly where it would have gone. Through this process, this first portion of the path has been realigned to allow for Rocking R Road to come through here. It'll then go on the outside of this parking lot that will be for the new future city park. This parking lot is also going to act kind of as a trailhead for the bike path. This is that piece right here that if you go back, this one probably makes more sense. As Lancaster diverts to its new alignment, you have this odd-shaped old right-of-way here that really doesn't serve any purpose anymore. If you look to the right, this old alignment would have been in this area that accommodated this road. As those split, this little triangular piece is just sort of hung out to dry here, and that's what we're looking for. And the reason would be that Mr. Rosenberger wants to put a feature that looks something like this to kind of act as a gateway to this development as we move here, right across from the city park, future parking lot. It's just sort of in there in no man's land. And right here, this is right at the toe of a hill. It gets really, really steep as you move up here. This will kind of be in backyards of future home sites here. It's just sort of this kind of remnant piece from an old alignment versus a new alignment. Rocking R Road, everything can be accommodated within the right-of-way dedication through the platting process. Lancaster Road, and Eric helped me out with another slide, will maintain a right-of-way width. He added this typical section in here, which shows what the typical section at Lancaster is supposed to look like. Focus in on that number right there, a total width of 85 feet, and this number here, a total half width of 42.5 feet. And where was that slide? Oh, it's on the last slide. Forgive me. Oh yeah, right here on the same slide. There'll still be 60 feet of half width on the lower southern half section of Lancaster. Will still have 60 feet from center of current roadway to where the new property line would be if the city were to grant this vacation. There are some utilities in the area. Those have all been acknowledged. Some of those have been installed and realigned by the developer. We're aware of what's in there. Easements can be drafted within the property line, just like any other subdivision would have to provide a utility easement. Current alignments can be worked around as well to accommodate these features right here. So I guess what I'm trying to say is all of the utilities have been recognized and can be repositioned at the developer's cost so that he can add a feature here at the gateway to this new subdivision directly across from the new city park parking lot that will go in. And ultimately, in summary of the request, is that it doesn't really appear that it benefits the city in any way. Maintenance would happen by the homeowners association. It just is sort of one of those odd shapes based on the realignment that's just sort of a remnant. And the developer feels that it could make a nice gateway to the subdivision and a nice feature for residents to notice across from a future city parking lot. And as I said, I'd fumble my way through it a little bit, but I stand for any questions.
Any questions for Jeremy from council?
On some of your slides, you show two yellow lines. And I thought this was a triangle, and usually there's a third line in the triangle.
So that's the existing property line of so this is the property line, and everything south of sort of this blue line right here. Oh, right there, property boundary. That's what's owned by Mark's Ranch already. Everything south of that red line is owned by them. So I guess this triangle should have closed up here to make it more clear.
So the eastern point of the east-west line and the southern point of the north-south, those are the two endpoints of the triangle. So the triangle would be to those points.
Correct. It shows up better
Yeah, you show it on one map, but I
right
just,
there.
right
This little
there.
hatched out area.
And is there any value to an easement?
We talked about an easement, I believe. I say we, I think Eric talked about a permanent easement there. And I felt that, my understanding was the city felt it was cleaner if they didn't have ownership of it, if improvements by the HOA were to be placed in it.
And my question is there a value? I mean, if we currently own that easement, is that correct?
You currently own it as right-of-way.
Okay,
city
so
does.
for us to, is there any value to that, to the city for that?
I think that's per your adopted master transportation plan and the right-of-way width, none of those things would be affected. You'd still have the appropriate right-of-way width on Lancaster. I think that's a discussion. Would you guys see it as valuable if you are going to widen the right-of-way there, put in additional pathways there? As far as your road alignment, that becomes unaffected if you were to vacate this. Does the property itself have value? I'm not sure. Not for your roadways, not for your infrastructure as a city, based on the adopted master transportation.
So your
plan.
proposal is that we just give you this?
Our proposal is that you vacate this.
Well, isn't that giving it to you?
So the way vacations work on publicly owned right-of-way is you have to determine that there's no interest in the public. It's not a value-based system in the form of money, it's a value-based system in the form of the interest of the public. So with respect to this, you have to determine if there's no interest in it, then you can vacate it, but you can't take monetary value over it.
Because it sits as a right-of-way, and that's why I tried to make that,
It's not strictly a fee simple ownership. or
right. It's
sale.
not owned fee simple like the Lakes Highway District land was. The city has adopted it as right-of-way through that whole.
The only reason I bring it up is we've been spending a lot of money on buying right-of-way to improve our roads and intersections, and there's millions of dollars involved. And I just wonder if we vacate something that has value, then I'd like to know if there's value, whether we can get it. But you're saying there's no value.
What I'm saying is the value has to be translated in interest to the public. It's a right-of-way, not a fee simple ownership. And so with that, you have to look at what value does the public have today and tomorrow for the potential of that interest in that land to be given away to fee simple ownership to the adjoining property owner.
Okay.
And this is a specific section of Idaho Code under Title 50.
Well,
that
I think
dictates
that's where
this.
you were going with that. Is this, as what you just described statutorily, so where you cannot put a monetary value, it is an interest to the community
The
value.
process itself is about divesting of the public's interest in the land, not the value of the land per monetary reason.
Is that in the statute type of thing that it has to be that interest versus monetary?
I couldn't point to it right now, but Title 50 is very explicit on the process for vacations of right-of-way, which tells you the process you have to go through, the determination you have to make, which is to determine if there's public interest in the land. And it doesn't say that that interest translates to value. Dollars.
Thank you.
Sandy, any questions?
Yes, I just wanted to ask about the staff recommended conditions of approval that are on page 8.
I have not seen him.
Okay. So I guess there's some water and sewer pipes that need to be moved and,
We're aware, and the developer plans to do that at his cost, assuming that we would agree to a vacation.
Okay.
Yes, aware of that.
so there won't be any costs to the city for moving forward with
No,
this?
none whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
We have all the survey data there, so all that sort of stuff that needs to happen would happen at the developer's cost.
Okay, thank you.
Tom, any questions for Jeremy?
Yes, but it's so specific that I'm sort of questioning whether it's worthwhile bringing up, but let me do it anyway.
Shoot.
Could you go to the picture showing the overlay of where the new bike route or the new multi-use path would go?
Yeah. This guy?
No, there was, oh, that's it. So zoom in on that corner right before it crosses Rocking R.
I don't know how.
Oh, you know what, you can't zoom in. All right, so I'm pointing to that. Here's my question, and I'm asking this because
What
I'm
do you
a...
look at, just so I can highlight, are you saying here?
Move the cursor to the left.
To the left?
Yeah, that spot right there.
Yep.
I'm only asking this because I'm a cyclist that sometimes rides on paths like this. Is there a reason to have that right hand and then turn and then tight left-hand turn, then another right before crossing Rocking R? Or could it be the first turn be made more of a gradual and then it just blends straight in?
So this is all, there's a lot of topography out here, if you're familiar with the area.
Yeah.
It's real steep, and then you certainly want to slow the cyclists down here at an intersection
That's the answer to the question.
as they're navigating this. Otherwise, if they straight shot it across here, we'd have to put in one of those rapid flashing beacons so somebody didn't get plunked as somebody's looking at
Right,
the
like-
intersection. This seems safer, and yes, if there's gonna be a roadway here, you're gonna want people to slow down as they approach the
It's a
intersection.
traffic calming turn. Okay, so that's the reason for it. You've answered my question, thank you. I appreciate
Ed,
it.
anything?
Well, Dawn is going to close.
Yes.
So we have questions of her?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'll see you at
Thanks, Jeremy.
rebuttal if needed.
I mean, we don't have any, but I'll ask.
So before I close this slide, I want to point out that nothing west of Rocking R is approved today. So this is a concept plan today, just as a matter of interest.
Say that one more time, Donna, that we,
This park design over here we don't have any park design approved.
oh, no, I
here
get
at
it,
the
I
city.
get
So
it.
this is concept, don't get this in like granite, so. It's important to note that piece. It's good to see it, but it's not. So that's a much better slide than this mess was. So this is kind of the construction drawings, just a piece of it showing that alignment with that triangular section, known plans that exist today. So I went through what is in your staff review in summary. I'm not going to go into all of this detail, but this is Idaho State Statute, Title 40, Section 203. And yes, the applicant paid for the fees, and we're here tonight for the hearing. It's important to note that vacations get 3 public notices in the paper, so they're very well published, and they get a big yellow board out there saying that something's happening. They get posted on our city's website, and we send them out to a plethora of news outlets as well. So they're well published. Then as you're kind of going through those standards, it says at the hearing, the commissioners, and in this case, the council, shall accept all the information related to the proceedings. You got that in your staff review and your memo in the council packets. Then you do your deliberation, you have your hearing, you decide if it, and this goes to Lisa's point, if it's in the public's interest to vacate this piece of property. And finding that it does or it doesn't, that's what you make your decision upon. If after you've found that the vacation is permitted, and if the fair market value is more than $2,500, you kind of decide if you want to get some money out of that conversation. Staff did an analysis based on the right-of-way kind of numbers that we've seen in the past, and based on this as being non-developable 4,350 square feet, and determined that it doesn't believe that it meets that threshold. And should you find that it has met the public's interest to vacate this triangle, then you'll direct staff to create a resolution that'll come back on a future city council meeting for approval, and then we record that with Kootenai County. It's always important to note that any land use decision can be appealed through the correct process according to the state statutes. Yes, Ed?
I don't know if this is the right time where you are in your presentation, you may answer it, but would vacation of this create any liability for the city? Is there any way that, I mean, we could be held liable for something that might happen on this piece of land, or?
So I'm looking at Alan, but part of the reason that it made sense for them to request this vacation is they're putting a structure on this. They wanted to put this entranceway structure at this location, which is really kind of cool art piece that's going out there.
You want to put that in a triangle, the water tower thing?
Right, exactly, and that's
In
just
that
a kind of an art kind of piece in there. And if they had done that with an easement and what have you with the city, then it would have been city-owned property. But in this case, it will become their property should this vacation be approved, and they would own that
So there's
liability.
no way that if somebody, for whatever reason, ended up, T-boning or endoing into the water tower or something like that, that they could come back on the city for any.
We wouldn't own it, so we would
So
have
we're good-
absolutely no interest in it.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
It wouldn't be our right of way. We wouldn't have any fee simple ownership. The adjoining landowner would.
So we're clear.
Correct. So then you can't vacate property and leave somebody without a way to get in and out of their property, and that doesn't exist in this particular case. If it's approved, then you need to make sure that there are easements in place for those underground utilities, going back to those conditions of approval. Should it be approved, those easements have to happen concurrently. This right-of-way was not part of a platted subdivision, so the conditions that identified in that standard number 4 don't really apply. This right-of-way was never abandoned, which means that, people just stopped using it. That never really occurred until they rerouted the bike path out of this location into another location, but it hasn't been abandoned per se. And the right-of-way may be vacated only upon a formal determination that retaining the right-of-way is not in the public's interest. And that's the hearing here tonight. So the agencies that responded back to that agency request were North Kootenai Water and Sewer District, Avondale Irrigation District, Hayden Area Regional Sewer Board, and Northern Lakes Fire Protection District. And so they responded that they didn't have concerns or that they needed to move things, and the applicant, as you heard from their testimony, is aware of those. Staff did kind of look at amending, the way this was written, it was worded weird. So we would, if you are adding these as conditions of approval, we would respectfully request to reword this first one. So the applicant shall move the infrastructure as required by Avondale Irrigation District and or North Kootenai Water and Sewer District in accordance with our code standards and policies. And if they're in our right-of-way, they need to get an encroachment permit to do that work of moving it. And then they need to prepare and record concurrently with the recordation of the resolution, the easements required for those 2 underground utility providers. And then staff does not believe that this will apply for paying any fees in concordance with 42031I. then it's up to the council to decide if you want to approve it, and whether you want to approve it with staff recommended conditions of approval, if you want to continue it, or if you want to deny it. I stand for questions.
Thank you, Donna. Has anybody got questions for Donna? Tom?
Donna, what was the standard that you used to say that the parcel was not worth more than $2,500?
I actually did that kind of analysis. I utilized what we've done for previous appraisals when we were looking to actually acquire right-of-way from property owners, and I used kind of an average value over the past couple of years that we've seen come back on our appraisals, and that did not trigger that statutory requirement of $2,500.
So your conclusion was based on a review of other
Properties
vacation of right-of-way?
No, right-of-way acquisition appraisals.
Okay, I find that really interesting because like Councilman Roeder brought up, we've been spending a ton of money getting right-of-way for intersections in other parts of the city. And I just quickly did the math, and that value, 2,500, is about 25,000 per acre, which is way under commercial value for a lot. So help me understand the disparity, please.
I can show you the appraisals that I utilized, but I don't have those at today's council meeting.
Oh,
I have a question related to that that might help clear this up.
Yeah.
If council's not supposed to, according to statute, look at this as a fee for service, the value of the land, and they're supposed to look at the utility and our interest in the land only, why would Idaho put a value in there to confuse a council?
We'd have to ask the legislature.
Good luck.
Go ahead.
I think the first point of interest is you have to decide if the property is required to meet, is in, it,
If it's in the interest of the public.
thank you, that's the word I'm
Because I mean,
having.
aren't we
Meaning
paying
that
about $9 a square, is it $9 a square foot for commercial property, or is that an apples orange thing?
So this is not commercial property,
So apples
so
oranges?
that's part of it. This is residential. The topography of this particular property is not
Okay,
conducive to,
so that's why the number.
I know that,
That's why the
but-
number's lower.
But
So there's-
there's like a huge disparity.
there
That's
is.
the-
So commercial versus non-commercial, agricultural and non-built upon land is what we have.
Okay.
And so those are the cost estimates utilized
Can we
from
go back to the
appraisals.
picture of it, basically?
Which picture, his or mine?
Keep going.
That one?
No, the actual overhead satellite-looking type of view.
That's in Jeremy's.
That's in
Oh, it's in
Jeremy's.
Jeremy, so we don't have it? Well,
pull up
it's okay. I
Jeremy's.
think my point, and the same thing, when we were talking about it,
That
you know, if you're going to purchase land for development of any kind or whatever, the value of the land is going to be affected by its potential development. And yeah, if that triangle there actually had some potential development for somebody to come in and build something, a structure or something that could be either personal or produce revenue or something like that, I could understand, yeah, its value. I'm just looking at it, I'm not an expert on this kind of stuff, but when you look at it, it's right on a cliff, it appears to be. And when you have, you know, what would
No, it's
somebody,
not. I've
you
been
know,
there.
what would somebody who come in here go, boy, I want to pay the going rate of what we're seeing for these other right-of-way acquisitions where, you know, yeah, what we're acquiring it for is primarily road uses and things like that.
Right.
And so I think I can understand where the appraisal of that piece of land is almost unusable for any realistic, does not have value for any realistic use, I guess. That's just my observation of it.
Any other questions for Donna?
No, just I did a little bit of math, and it's approximation of the property, square footage was 4,500?
4350.
4,350. Okay, I'd use 4,500. And then I looked at the $2,500 threshold, and I came up with 55 cents a square foot for that property. And I don't know that, I'm just bringing that up, that just seems really, really, really low. And that's my point. And we're supposed to look out for the interest of our public and our taxpayers. And I just want to make sure that we can maximize, if possible, any income from this transaction.
If I could, the land is also encumbered by utilities that would have to be relocated at a substantial cost to be able to utilize this land for anything, which is they're willing to take on that cost. I don't see the city ever doing that.
Any other questions for Donna? Donna, can you leave up the potential motions, please? All right, if council has any more questions, this will be the time for anyone in the public to provide testimony on this, since this is a public hearing. Do we have anyone? All right, sir, if there's what color is the card? Is it green? There's a green card in the back. There you go, Bill, you're on it. Do you also want to, or is Bill?
I just want to ask a question.
For comments.
What's that?
Comments. Did you want to speak, Bill?
Bill, do you want to speak?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Are you for or against or neutral?
Right now, neutral.
Neutral, thank you.
well, if he would like to speak, we need to know what his position is first.
Okay.
It goes in order.
Does it have to? Is that like the
For
law?
land use.
Okay, hold on, Bill, I gotta see if he's for or against. There's a batting order to who speaks, sorry.
I just actually have a question.
So neutral? I'm sorry, I know that sometimes this stuff seems cumbersome, I do apologize.
Okay, call me neutral.
All right, thanks. Bill, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Bill Breezy. I am not here tonight as the Vice Chair of the Historic Preservation Commission. This presentation caught me a little bit by surprise, and what caught my attention was public art. And so I've made this spiel before that I thought, that anything that we do should tell the story of Hayden, whether it be through artwork or whatever. So, just last week, we had a really good workshop with the Arts Commission. And, I think that one of the requirements would be that they include the participation of the Historic Preservation Commission, the Arts Commission, and Parks Commission. And, to really analyze this and provide a recommendation for the final artwork that would be selected.
Thank you, Bill. Fonda, or Lisa, for council's clarification, can council puts a condition of approval that's that specific?
I would argue that that would be outside of what the purpose of the meeting is. This is a vacation of public right of way, not a condition of development on private property. So if you were to vacate this property, the condition would be properly placed on the plat, not on the vacation.
Thank you.
In my opinion.
I concur.
Okay. Thanks for enduring the process, apologize.
I'm just learning.
Yes, sir. All right, Craig, just go ahead and tell us your name and where you live and ask your question.
So my name is Craig Bashaw, and I live at 9251 North Justice Way in Hayden. So my question is, it seems as if there's been a determination that the property is undevelopable. Could a dog park or a Frisbee golf small park exist without moving those utilities that are underneath it?
Okay, that's a good question. I'll ask staff.
So again, to go back to the point of the application, it says public right of way,
Right.
which is meant to move the public through a corridor. It's not fee simple ownership, and it's not meant to be used in the public right of way for anything other than as a corridor for transportation. So we keep that frame of mind. If we're, in my mind, taking that thought process and applying it to what could be done there, we have to think about the interests of the public in the way it's been intended to use, which is a right of way, not park, fee simple ownership, et cetera.
Okay.
Does that distinction help frame, I think, the
If
answer to the
I
question?
heard you correctly, and I want to speak for council, if I heard you correctly, that piece of land would not be appropriate for development by the city, for another
You have to
utility.
change the current type of ownership it is from right-of-way into something else for it to be developed into something such as a park. I know we're talking about some of that opportunity on the park to the south there, but not with this particular piece of property, so. And the applicant is respectfully requesting you to consider that 4,300 square foot area from its current existing use, which is public right-of-way, into fee simple ownership for them to develop as a monument of sort for their private use.
Thank you.
So you have to make the determination of whether there's any interest in the public to maintain, if you want to keep it right of way.
Okay,
Can I have one more public comment?
we're gonna have one more?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we have Ian Shadman.
Yes, sir.
And so just your name and the city you live in, and
Yeah, my name's Ian Shadman. I live at 8319 North Brookside Drive in Stoddard Meadows, Hayden, Idaho. Just hearing what you guys have presented on that, I do think the idea of trying to get monetary value for it is great and all, but if you do factor in all the stuff that you're gonna have to do to that, you're gonna cost the city of Hayden a lot more of a headache. And honestly, it just sounds just as I didn't even know this was gonna be on the meeting tonight. This is my first city council meeting I've come to. It sounds like Mr. Rosenberger is gonna be doing the city a favor based on the fact that it is a right of way. It won't be something that you could develop into something of use for the city. And honestly, it sounds like it's gonna be a win for the city to give it to him and make it nicer at the expense of his side. So it won't cost the city anything, and you'll have a much better overall product at the end, just from what I'm hearing. So I just want to make sure that that's, for someone like me can understand, and I hope that you guys can too, so.
thank you. Okay, if there are no more public testimony, we'll move on to council to deliberate. Who wants to? I'm sorry, there is a rebuttal.
Yes.
It's been a while since we've done this, Jeremy.
I know, it's my first time.
All right, go ahead and
I just
rebut now.
wanted-
So just so you know, you can only, what's been brought up, nothing new.
Correct. So again, for the record, Jeremy Terzulli, just, yeah, kind of clarifying and piggybacking off of a few things that I've heard. Just for reference, because I'm in this industry a lot, so I take a lot for granted. 4,300 square feet, an acre is 43,000 square feet. So we're literally talking 1/10 of 1 acre. It does not meet any minimum lot size that I'm aware of to do anything other than public art or something like that. And it's interesting because I brought that up in my pre-meeting with Eric. Hey, you know what? We should reach out to the city and see about commissioning a piece of art. And that was received okay, as long as it's thematically kind of fits what Ron wants to do out there. So we'd be open to that idea. But then again, when it comes to valuing a piece of property, because this is also something that I do as a land use consultant and a licensed commercial broker, you first start with highest and best use of the property. So it does have to be an apples to apples comparison. Commercial property versus this property adjacent to Lancaster, it's not the same thing. When you're spending a lot of money on right-of-way acquisitions, it's usually at intersections. And what it's doing is it's devaluing that property owner's ability. It either lops off 2 or 3 parking stalls, lots of other things like that. A perfect example is my project up on Miles and Government Way. Giving up that Miles right-of-way of 15 feet cost me 3 parking stalls, in essence devalued what I could do. Now, I had to do that because I had a change of use. It was no cost to the city, but if somebody isn't currently changing that use up there, it sort of devalues their future development potential of that property. So a true apples to apples comparison out here is what is highest and best use, and there really isn't a use of the property other than infrastructure that you would typically see in a right-of-way, bike path, extra turn lanes, those types of things. all of which are already accommodated in the Lancaster right-of-way. This doesn't affect that right-of-way width. And as Mr. Soderling brought up, in order, if you had a more developable piece of property, you would have to move all of this infrastructure, put it out into easements before it would be really available for sale. So I just want to offer those clarifying points. And yeah, that's all I have for right now. We respectfully request that you consider this vacation, as we think it's going to be a benefit for the city as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, now we can move to council to deliberate
Do you want to close the hearing?
and close the public hearing. Thank you. Tom, you want to go first?
Sure. So, sorry to create a ruckus. I just wanted to ask the question because it was a glaring question for me to ask about the disparity in prices. I happen to agree with Ian's observation and with the applicant's rebuttal. I think that the value we get out of in whatever way it's developed into a park with art is more than outweighs whatever monetary benefit the city could get, so I'm in favor of this.
Okay, Ed?
Yeah, I agree, same thing, and our, Ian basically put it very succinctly too, that, and as well as the applicant, the use of the land, is kind of what I was trying to get to, would relate to the appraisal. What else are we gonna do with it? You know, it's gonna serve as a right-of-way, which is gonna facilitate bikes, pedestrians, what have you. So I think it's a good way to go.
Okay, Sandy?
Yes, I agree. I have a question for clarification. Now, if we were to try to sell that property, wouldn't it have to go through a different process, like public, like a bidding process and?
That's for fee simple ownership.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards agreeing with what's been said. Thank
Money
you.
bags, Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't see any use for that property for the city. I mean, so the question is, what do we do with a piece that has no purpose for us? I'd still like to get some money for it, but that's besides the point. Sounds like we can't. And so it makes most sense to have that property be utilized in some fashion to enhance our city. And so I see, you know, if we had some conceivable use for that property, I would, you know, want to really look at it. Then the last thing I think about is, you know, what if we didn't do this process and we just kept it? Well, we don't gain anything. There's nothing to gain by it. So I'm in agreement with moving forward with this.
Staff, thank you for explaining everything to council. Obviously, this doesn't come up a lot, so we appreciate all the information. Would somebody like to make a motion at this point?
Sure.
Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, I move to approve the PZE 250090 Marks Ranch vacation of right-of-way request that the staff recommended conditions of approval as amended, finding that the request is in accordance with the standard of Idaho state statutes based upon testimony received at the city council public hearing and the record of the request.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion being made? May we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Council President Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember
Yes.
DePriest?
Okay, before we move on to new business, a little bit of a surprise related to our proclamation. Stephanie, would you join me up here, please?
Lisa?
No, I'm not cleaned up.
So at the beginning of the meeting, we talked a little bit about extra mile heroes, and so I'm here to recognize Stephanie for continuing her years of commitment to Hayden and the city's Arts Commission, currently serving as our commission chair. She distinguished herself most recently by spearheading all details that led to creating and installing a statue honoring Ron McIntyre in that same park as his family's namesake. Stephanie's commitment to our community through art that exemplifies and enhances the Hayden community are commendable and epitomize being recognized as an extra mile hero. So for this year, you are our first one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I thought I was in trouble.
the mayor's office.
All right, we're going to move into new business now. Our first item is item 6A, confirming appointment of individuals to commission. We have Vince Vargas and Anthony Grano being recommended to Planning and Zoning Commission, and Cherie Wilder to the Arts Commission. Does council have any questions? Or is there anyone that would like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to make the nomination of individuals for the Planning and Zoning Commission, Mr. Vance Vargas and Mr. Antonio Grano.
Second.
And of the Arts Commission appointment? There's a third.
Is that a separate
Mason, Mr.
motion?
Yes.
I ask that these be separate motions.
We can make them separate motions, that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've got a motion to appoint Vince and Anthony to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? You get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember DePriest?
Yep.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Council President Roder?
Yes.
Okay, so continuing on to Cherie Wilder's appointment. Is there any discussion? Is there a motion?
What's that?
We're waiting for a motion. You can either motion to approve, motion to disapprove.
Mr. Mayor, I will make the motion that we approve Cherie Wilder as an appointment to the Arts Commission.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? May we get a roll call vote, please?
Council President Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
No.
Councilmember DePriest?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to item 6B. It's a resolution approving addendum to Idaho Transportation Department State Local Construction Agreement for Ramsey Road Extension Project. And unless I have this wrong, I believe this is about a $2 million reimbursement we're getting
Yes.
associated with the Ramsey Road extension.
Everybody's excited. Camille?
So really, what's before you tonight is to go through and like basically honor, I think, what would be the amount that the state would keep, which would then allow for any overages from what we provided to the state for when it was bid, from the time it was bid to the time it was constructed. There's, the engineer's estimate was higher than what it constructed out as. So what they were holding in the gap funds between our 7.34% match and then the gap funding it took to meet the engineer's estimate, it constructed at, there's a surplus at the end, and we're asking for a portion of that back. They'll hold on to some of that. I think it states in there, they can hold up to $50,000 in addition to what it bid at in order to close out their books and be audited. And then we can request some of that back. So right now, we're seeking a $2 million request in return. That's what we'll do if this is approved by council.
You answered my question about the $50,000. We still have the opportunity to
Yes.
request whatever they deem they do not need to close out their books.
If you recall, when we went through the state and local agreement, June of last year, there was some discussions over the length of time in which they would hold on to any monies that were in excess of what it costs, and they said it could take up to 5 years. So we don't think it's in their benefit to hold on to that money, so we're asking if this is supported, that we would get a portion of that back.
Is this part of the same money that had we not approved it, we would have been paying it back, or that's separate?
A little different in the sense that in order to complete the project, we had to put up the money that the state and local agreement or LTAC couldn't fund. So they had money set aside. We had to pay our 7.34% match. And then any money that was left over, not funded by state dollars, had to be made up by the local entity. And that was us. So that was when I came to you last year and said, we're gonna have to fund about, the gap was somewhere a little over $3 million. Well, when it bid much less than that. So it was that savings they're giving back to the city and the gap funds that we had to come up with.
Okay.
That's what we're gonna ask for back, I should say. This agreement doesn't necessarily do that. It just stipulates that they can keep up to 50,000. So we're already prepared to make that request pending support of this.
Any other questions? Anyone like to make a motion? Go ahead, Ed.
Sure. I would move to approve the staff recommended approval of the council resolution and authorization of the mayor to sign the addendum to the state local agreement between the city of Hayden and the Idaho Transportation Department.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion being made? May we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Council President Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember DePreez?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to 6C, as an action item to consider extension of the contract addendum until November 30th, 2025 for law enforcement services with Kootenai County. Before we jump into this, I'm going to ask council, we're going to have an opportunity later in the meeting to discuss the sensitivity. So can we please just focus the conversation on whether to extend our contract as is written 30 days or not?
Mr. Mayor, just for, I think, the help of the council is to let you know that the BOCC did consider this same request today at their 2 o'clock meeting. And as I understood it, they supported that extension, but the requirement requires both bodies to support it. So that's why it's before you tonight.
Thank you. So does anyone have questions, or is there a discussion that you want to
just
have
have one
as it relates to the extension?
I just have one question. It's related to the negotiation, which is the extension that we're talking about here. Who at the county are we negotiating with at this point?
What was the question?
It's not really a negotiation, it's just a finalization of the terms in the agreement. So so after our workshop, I redrafted the agreement pursuant to the conversation and the feedback that was received from the Public Safety Commission and the council. That was sent over to legal department at the county. They then had to converse with the county commissioners with regards to the language, and the county commissioners had to discuss that with the sheriff's office, because one of the key components was the separation of the 2 different divisions at the county, if you remember correctly. It was making sure that KCSO was responsible for performance under the contract, and that the county would be just the financial obligation. So there were some components in those changes that needed to be discussed on their side. So it's not the negotiation aspect, it's the finalization of the language of the contract.
So who at the county who are we dealing with at the county that's doing the finalization of that contract?
I've been in contact with their attorney, Darren Murphy.
Okay. And then you said that the Public Safety Commission was involved with this decision-making?
Yeah, the workshop you had with the Public Safety Commission, I took notes during that workshop.
Okay, so that's where you got, okay.
Yes.
I didn't know, was there another meeting?
No, it was just from that workshop, that
Okay.
one workshop we had.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Someone like to make a motion?
I would like to do that. I move to authorize the city staff to send a letter to the BOCC requesting extension of the addendum for law enforcement services until November 30th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
And just for clarification, so we're not sending a request, it was a joint effort to get this extension in front of both the BOCC and council at the same time, which happened to happen on the same day.
Thank you.
I'm just sending a letter.
Yeah.
They gave the draft.
May we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember DePreez?
Yep.
Council President Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
On to 6D, action item also, Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation grant opportunities for Honeysuckle Beach facility improvements.
Mayor, Council, we've been looking at, let me get this pulled up here. There we go. So staff has been looking at ways to leverage the money we have down at the city Honeysuckle Beach for our parking lot, our boat ramp, our facilities down there. And there's an opportunity to go for a grant. It'll take place this January if we apply. And the reason we're doing this is that we have quite a few deficiencies down there, some deterioration. The south dock rests on the ramp down here. The limited pathway directs all the users to here, which is where all the boats go in, which we talked about in our study about trying to split those as much as we could. And then there's a lack of a complete walkway. And then the boat ramp here is deteriorating. And this is off the screen. Oh, these look good. Okay. So the things that we're looking at trying to improve with the grant dollars, this is the ramp, and you can see parking lots right up here to the right. So you can see the condition it's in. That's due to water on asphalt. It's very erosive. Water's a great solvent. And when we got a lot of water and then once it starts to stand, it gets even worse. So you can see with the impacts of that. So that's part of what we're looking to fix. This is further down the ramp. You can see the concrete. There's big holes in it. It's getting old. It's been there long time. You can see here, the ramp is over here. The dock sits on the ramp. So along with this, we're looking at shifting this dock over to provide a little more space between here for two vehicles to park down there. Some people can back a boat down a 10-foot wide aisle. Some people need a 20. If we can give them another 3 feet, I think they'll enjoy that.
So Alan, just for clarification, this is just to seek the grant, not to present the design?
This is to seek the grant, but I want to kind of give you background of what we're hoping to accomplish with that money.
The council will see the design later, right? If they approve
If they approve, yeah, yes.
Thank you.
The other thing we've talked about is additional walkways. So extending this walkway, you can see we had a real short walkway along the back of the beach. We've been talking about this. We'd like to extend it from here to here, and then from here to here, and then down to the ramp. That will allow our handicap access basically around the entire perimeter of the deal. Help take people away from another access point that they can get onto that's easily accessed by people who have disabilities away from the boat ramp. I'll go in the right direction. Here's just an overview. You can see this is the only section. We have a walkway that comes from the parking lot to here and to here. And we also have, you can come down this way and walk basically down this edge here next to the boats. Gotta keep going the right direction. Oh, look at that. That looks beautiful. So, those are the proposed improvements that we want to take to and apply for a grant. So the Idaho, it would be the waterway improvement grant. We have highlighted here. These are all grants that they have that we have an opportunity to apply for. They have different backgrounds, different needs, different goals. This waterway improvement fund is ideal, and as is the recreational road and bridge fund. The waterway is pretty self-explanatory. It's for improvement for waterways access. The road and bridge would kind of fall in because we can separate some of the motorized from the pedestrian access. Motorized, non-motorized recreational boats, funds for a portion of the state fuel tax, funds intended for safe improvements of waterways. Examples are boat ramps, docks, enforcement equipment, boating related facilities. It's estimated there's about $1.5 million available, 50% cap on any funds to one county. So of that 1.5, any county in the state of Idaho can only receive up to 50% of it. And then there's a minimum of 5% match on all projects. 20% is required for the motorized equipment, so that would in the other fund. And then any government agent or Native American tribes are eligible. So those are the criteria which we can easily meet. And then this is just the same information, but right on out of the page. So project completion upon approval of the grant, that shall guarantee shall obligate and complete all elements of the project described. Then project liabilities, you sign an agreement and basically that holds you to complete the project. Purchase of bidding equipment, we have to follow the state and local bidding requirements, which we have to do anyway. We're required for any permits, and then failure to comply by the grantee to comply with such terms and obligations set forth in the approved grant application or grant agreement shall result in immediate revocation of the approved grant and shall constitute a conversion. So that's just basically saying if we apply and we are granted, we'll have to sign an agreement, and that agreement holds you to obligations to complete the project and spend the money appropriately.
I have a question.
Yes.
What kind of, go back one slide.
Keep going.
No, back. There you go. It says in the first section, the grantee shall be obligated to complete all elements of a project. So what does that look like? What kind of requirements would be on
If we
this?
put in the grant application and we apply for funds to complete the restructuring of the boat ramp, moving the dock over and building the concrete, we're obligated then to complete that work.
Okay, complete that work.
Whatever we apply for and put the estimate in. So when you do that, you want to estimate where you think you don't want to estimate low because you're obligated to complete this, so.
Any other requirements? Like I know one other grant we had, a requirement was we couldn't raise the rates too much or things like that.
We already have, all those requirements are down there. They don't go away just because we apply for another grant, so.
And this doesn't have any new ones? Okay. All right, and will we be able to review it again before we do the final acceptance?
What I want to ask the council is if you feel that this is a good project and is it okay for staff to apply for the grant? It doesn't mean we'll get it. If we are given the grant, you still have to accept it and agree
Okay.
to it.
Okay, thank you, that's what I was asking.
Alan, what's the turnaround time on the grant? So if you guys applied for it this month or next month?
The application is in January. We would find out and the money would be available midsummer.
Thank you.
And we have basically a year to complete it. We can get an extension on that, but it works out good because we need low water to do the work. So we need to be doing the work in the November timeframe. So it should work out really good. Yes,
Any other
Tom?
questions for Alan?
Yeah, I didn't see it in here, maybe it's just because I missed it. Did you have an estimate on what you think this would cost?
Do we have a tie to it? I don't think we have an estimate yet. We had some, but they're a little bit old, so.
Why I ask is this, let's say you get half of the grant money, $750,000, and we're obligated to spend a minimum of $2,500, that's 5%? Am I doing my math right? Is there enough in our budget to cover the matching portion?
We have funds right now in the boat launch fees that will, I think it's close to $70,000.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what fund balance is off the top of my head, but there are certain portions that those restricted funds can be used to help meet the match requirements of the 5% that's required as part of the grant. And I think the hope is that with permission by council to move forward with this, we'll certainly can report back on what we're learning about the total cost. But if the total cost to do it doesn't outweigh the money that we have to do it in the grant, then we wouldn't go forward with it.
That's kind of what.
Yeah, if we can't make the numbers work, we don't have to move forward.
But we don't want to waste time
Yeah.
and energy with something that council doesn't see the benefit of.
Go ahead.
And the matching funds would come from, as you said, the dedicated, the Parks Fund?
So we have the Honeysuckle Beach boat launch fees that are required. They're earmarked to be invested back into that facility out there. So we can
Strictly
use,
Honeysuckle
we
Beach.
can use those funds for that part of the grant specific to improving the motorist boat launch experience. Anything outside of that we might have to look out.
Boat launch experience, I've had a few of those.
Just to say it's already, well, you mentioned it can be an experience based on your ability. So really we'll have to look at, how the grant breaks out and then what funds would be there to be able to be supportive of it.
Okay, any other questions for Alan? Okay, Anybody want to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we authorize staff to prepare applications for grant funding available through the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation for the Honeysuckle Boat Ramp and Walkway Access Improvements.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I'd just like to make a comment, if I may. Being a user of our boat ramp, it is narrow, and when you have boats coming in and coming out, every foot helps. And also to maintain that asset, I think is important to put in, the good paving and just keep the asset up to par. And I think this is a wise use of our boat ramp fees as a match, and if we can get a grant to do it, I think it's a great idea.
Thanks. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
President Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Dupree?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Okay, up next, I think Alan is going to give us a winter response presentation.
Well, oh, look at that. It's one of our new trucks.
Ooh.
No. We've been doing a lot of work with our teams on getting ready for snow removal this year. One of the things that we're encountering is, and we've talked about it in years past, is that as we get more and more roadways, it becomes harder and harder to keep the same level of service. In other words, we've been pretty lucky in being able to plow out all the streets and the roads in one day for most storms that we have. We're going to start to see that response dwindle a little bit, and so we've been working on ways of still providing that service best we can when we can't meet that, with the goal of still meeting that whenever we can. So we cover about 180 lane miles of roadway. So that means that at least one vehicle has to travel 180 miles to plow all the roads. And that's without turning around and looping around and doing, so it's quite a bit. We have 12 full-time staff that do that. That includes both our entire parks department and our entire streets department. And they all, both departments spend the entire staff doing road snow removal. And then it comes off the bottom of the screen. That's interesting. We have trucks, we have graders, we have loaders, we have de-icers and pickup trucks with plows, and those are basically the main equipment we use. We also have gators and some other we use for the sidewalks, and we have a tractor sometimes we use for parking lots. So, general winter response guidelines, when sustained freezing temperatures and or snow are anticipated, staff's going to proactively go out and de-ice. We a lot of times like to pre-spray if we can. Pre-spraying on those higher traffic streets and the elevated portion of the city prevents that snow or ice from attaching hard to the surface, and it allows us to take mechanical equipment behind that and easily remove that. So that's a key component. Then when we get to 3 inches or more, that's when we take out equipment and start mechanically removing snow. Now, when I say 3 inches or more, that means 3 inches or more that we believe is going to stay. If we think it's 3 inches and it's going to melt off in the afternoon, we're probably not going to send equipment out, but we may still do some of the main streets if it becomes slushy and a problem. The primary response for plowing will focus on the higher traffic roads, the arterials and collectors. Those are the roads that provide the services for buses, emergency vehicles, service industry. And those are the streets that everybody drives when they're trying to go someplace. Most people drive some local roads too, but they'll typically drive a lot more miles on the arterial and collectors when they're going. So, and the heavier snow events, when the roads may be plowed more than once before lower traffic, those may be the only streets we get to. So if what we're saying is we're going to focus on those first. If the snow continues to fall, we may not get to the local roads in that same day. So, once the higher roads are plowed, we will work into the local roads, so. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that snow. I know everybody can hardly wait. So, there's every winter storm is different, and it's one of those challenges, right? So that when it hits, time of day it hits, when the event begins, when it stops snowing, does it stop snowing? So what's the best time to plow the roads? For our team, the best time to plow roads when there's no traffic on it. So ideally, we like to get out there 4 in the morning, start plowing, try to get major roads, especially the busy roads, done before the traffic gets out there. Heavy events take more time. They also require more snow to be moved, and then you got the duration, right? So storms, they can last long, they can be short. So sometimes we have to plow roads more than once in a day. And those are the kind of cases where we're not going to be able to get for sure to the local roads. Number of snow events, back-to-back snow, day. We haven't had any of those for a while, but we do get them. I know I can remember days where it snows for 10 days straight, right? And there's a lot of snow buildup. So those are the real challenges because our guys don't get much of a break. And then the temperature ranges. You've got light, fluffy snow that's easy to move, and you got heavy, wet snow. And then you got snow that's got wet and refroze. And so all those conditions create different problems. And then we have the inevitable equipment outage. Snow removal is hard on equipment, and we typically have at least one breakdown a week, if not more. And so those things have to be, we have guys doing everything we can to keep that stuff working, especially if we have back-to-back snowstorms. Ooh, that's still a nice truck. So when I talk about doing the arterials and collectors, these are the streets that snowplow operators are going to focus on. These are our major streets, and you can kind of see it's the major grid. It does include some roads that are fronted by residential, but it also does not get into the subdivision areas that you have where you have a lot of local roads. This looks like a lot of roads. That's only about 61% of our lane miles. So we're just a little over half. The other half is in the local roads, in the residential area. Gotta remember which way to turn this. So once we get the arterials done, then we'll move into the local roads. We divide our crews into 4 crews of 2 to 3 pieces of equipment each, and each crew has an area. You can see those in the green, pink, purple. I believe that's orange or brown. We'll talk to Dan about that. Find out. So they each have their responsibility to get that done.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some ways to help snow removal, right? That was a low snow day. So the things that the crews really struggle with are vehicles, basketball hoops, trailers, other personal property that are sitting in the roadway. And so if those can be moved, it really helps out. Or sometimes we even have to have them removed so that we can plow through an area. If we get too much in there and we start getting snow in there, we can't even get the equipment in there to keep the road open. Trash cans should be removed from the streets immediately after trash is picked up. And the property owners are responsible to clear the sidewalks in front of their homes and the businesses. And we ask that they please make sure they remove the snow and ice from the sidewalks to ensure it's safe for pedestrian travel. And we also ask that they please don't shovel or snow blow or direct the snow out into the street. Even if that's across the street, it creates a little problem for, it's also against the law, but it's also because it's a big problem. And I have any questions? Yes, Ed.
You probably get this a lot. I know I get it a lot. The gates, driveway, up and down to prevent those berms that when you guys come through the neighborhoods at 4 o'clock and people don't get out there until 6 o'clock and it is turned to an ice block. What's the policy on usage of the gates?
So We use the gates whenever we can and they're effective and they're operational. Not all of our equipment has gates, but we do have 4 pieces of equipment that do. So when we divide it into 4 teams, we try to use the gates as much as we can in those areas. Some places it's not very appropriate. Hayden Avenue, like going between here and Atlas, we don't really use the gates on that road. It's just not effective. But the thing that a lot of people don't understand is the gates, they do help. They're not perfect. They're not a solution to everything. They work good in certain snow conditions. They work good in certain roadway width conditions. They work good on certain spacing for driveways. So all those things are a factor. Wet snow, it piles up. We can put the gate down. We can pick up some of it. We probably won't get it all. Once we open the gate, it may not clear out of the plow that great, and may start to build up and we can't get rid of it. Light powder, they work awesome. Of course, that's the easiest stuff to remove in front of your driveway as well, right? So it's the easiest snow to deal with. Those are really the 2 things that really, the amount of snow is a big factor too, because we can only push so much snow. If there's driveway, and you got 40 foot of driveway, you got 60 foot of yard, you collect all that snow in that 40 feet, you may not get rid of it before you get to the next driveway. So then you put the gate down, it starts piling up. You'll also see that some driveways are close together, and that creates problems. So the first guy's driveway may get taken well care of with the gate. The second driveway that's right down the road may not work at all in that driveway because it's got too much snow in it. So there's just a lot of factors that go on. So they work great when they work great, and they don't work great everywhere, and they don't work great in every condition. But almost in all instances, it makes it better than it would be without.
Other questions for Alan? Sandy?
Well, I just wanted to say, I like living on a cul-de-sac because we always get a sledding hill in the middle of the cul-de-sac. The kids love it. So, yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up. Can I comment, please?
Yes.
For the public, our guys don't always know that there might be a kid playing on a berm or snow berm or in a snow berm. There is, kids they like having fun in snow. I mean, I'm not going to say that isn't a great thing, but be aware that if your kids are playing on a snow berm or if they're creating a little snow fort in there, our guys don't want to be dealing with that. So just be aware of that. It's a potential hazard.
Thank you for pointing that out. Okay. I didn't notice on the chart, are we responsible for Highway 95?
No.
Okay. And let's see. How many staff do you have total? You split into 4 groups.
12.
How many? 12? Okay. And is there something online that shows a chart of the streets that you're plowing?
I think it's going to be put online.
Okay.
That this is part of what we're bringing up.
Oh, good. And I'd like a copy of this presentation too.
We will plow all the public roadways that the city has. We don't plow the private streets, right? So it's just that we may not get to all the public roads every snow event.
Okay. Well, you guys do a great job. I'm really pleased. Thank you very much.
Matt?
Yeah, first is the statement. I have family that live in a nearby city, I won't name it, but sometimes it's 2 or 3 days before they get plowed out. And you guys, our street crew, they do an awesome job. You're on top of it. And I just want to thank for the work and the years that you've done an excellent job. I mean, it's exceptional in my mind. Because it's really funny, like, we'll call up my daughter, she said, we have to have a 4-wheel drive because they don't plow the roads soon enough. And so I just appreciate it. The other, I do have one question, is now that we have moved into our new public works facility, does that help at all in the efficiency of plowing the roads because of location, or you have better access to your equipment, or has it helped?
It's going to help. We haven't got to use it in this type of event yet. But I think the main thing it's going to provide, Councilman Roeder, is that we now are able to have all of our snow removal equipment under shelter. We don't have to deal with coming to work, getting that equipment ready to move because it's got snow on or it's frosted up or whatever. We have electricity to all of them for heated. And so that will be a great benefit.
And the storage of mag chloride.
And we have, yes, we have now our own mag chloride storage so that we can de-ice the roads. We don't have to go and buy it from a local agency.
Good, thank you.
Any other questions? Alan, I have one question and one statement. I know we've had some turnover with the parks and the streets crew. Do you guys look at the way things were done before and how they could be done going forward? In other words, some kind of analysis or just, the reason I ask is I catch emails a couple times a winter that says, hey, why are we doing this instead of that? So I'm just curious, do you guys talk about that, look at that, especially with the turnover that we've had?
Yeah, they have been, this is a direct result of some of our new staff and our old staff having conversations about this coming winter and how we can do it better so that they're not, it creates quite a bit of stress. They sit up at night wondering if they're going to get called out because they don't know whether they are or not. So this is part of what we're doing here is to, and how we're structuring this is to eliminate some of that. So we're going to be taking and having 2 guys out there early doing the de-icing and some of that and watching the storm and determining what's going to happen. That way we don't have everybody sitting up going, what's going to happen, right? So there's a lot of conversations. We have a meeting every November before all this happens. We discuss, it's a snowplow meeting, and it includes both the parks and streets and public works staff here at City Hall and Sean, and we have a meeting about safety. We have a meeting about what's coming up. We have answer questions. We talk about how do we get the roads cleared from vehicles, who's going to manage all that. So it's quite a production. And we also, they've already, some of the new young guys have already been out driving their route so that they become familiar with it. It does become a little bit of problematic as it did 2 years ago when we had a lot of new staff again, because we get people who say, they've been plowing my road doing this for every year for the last 25 years. And now that didn't happen, right? And that's because the individual who was doing that is no longer here or is doing something else. And so the homeowner expects to say exactly the same thing, and that new person doesn't know that homeowner, doesn't know some of those things. So that will happen.
All right, I appreciate you letting us know. And the second thing is for the public or the YouTube out there. I'm just going to ask to be grateful for the service we get. The fact is these people are out there at 3, 4 in the morning while we're all sleeping warm in our beds. They're out plowing the streets so that we can be safe. So thank you to the staff.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on now to our city administrator report, please.
Sure, I just have a brief update to share with council. Next month, we only have one regularly scheduled meeting for the city council. That is November 18th, and that's due to the fact that we have holidays on either week that we would normally have our second and fourth meeting on. So staff has been talking about, and we do have a number of things coming up that may warrant a special council meeting, dependent upon some of the things coming up to help shorten the November 18th meeting timeframe, because otherwise it'll be a very long meeting. We also have a number of bills that we typically would want to get paid as well, so we're not falling behind. So I'd just ask for council's understanding as we reach out and seek a special meeting date to consider a handful of things that we otherwise would shorten our November 18th meeting up somewhat.
So Lisa, are you just for rough planning around maybe like 12th, 13th, 14th kind of thing?
It's really dependent upon the particular things that are coming. If they come in and they're ready, we'll look to the applicants who are seeking decisions to drive a little bit of that ship. So we don't have a known date right now that we're seeking, but just wanted to prepare council that likely our city clerk will reach out to you and ask your opinion and you understand why.
Thank you.
And then of course we'll throw on our other needs like bills for payment as well, just to kind of ensure that our vendors are getting paid promptly. I also wanted to, and our finance director is not here tonight, but I wanted to make sure council understood and knew the level of effort she's been doing with our auditors to get our 2024 audits completed and ready for your guys' consideration here, hopefully in the next month or so. The auditors are here all last week. So this is 24. We're, still a year behind. If we hit that December 1st timeframe and don't have that done, then the state will start withholding our sales tax revenue again. So we're pushing really hard to ensure that that is done ahead of that timeframe, and then shortly after that, moving on to our 25, which will bring us current, which is a good feeling, since we haven't had that since I've been here.
Question about the sales tax issue?
Oh, so if you're, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, I understand what it is that the sales tax gets withheld. That's probably state statute. Does that apply to all taxing districts?
Not all taxing districts receive sales tax revenue. It's
Okay.
only cities and counties that do.
Okay, thank
So.
you.
If you didn't notice when you came in today or have been into City Hall recently, Atomic Threads, who was the vendor that responded to our merchandise kiosk, did place that kiosk. It's right as you come in on the left-hand side. And you can take a look. There's some opportunities through the kiosk to view some of the merchandise, and also a QR code that you can scan if you'd like to purchase anything. So I just want to make sure council saw that, and we wanted to acknowledge Atomic Threads for bringing that in. And then Susie's here tonight. She can maybe give you an update on the trunk or treat, but it sounds like it was well attended.
Very well, yes. It even ran over a little bit. We had 1,086 people go through, so really well attended. And the girls did a great job getting it all ready and everything, so staff did a great job.
And then lastly, as we work towards giving you guys meaningful financial information every month, we try to, at the second meeting in the month, give you that information. I provided to you just the summary level information, and I'm happy to give you more information. We're still, as we get current with our audits, it'll get easier to do this. But you'll see on here where it does say fiscal year 24 and 25 unaudited. That's just to acknowledge that because they're unaudited, those numbers still will change. So this report is through September 30th. It is still preliminary, meaning we're still making changes, and expect that to happen when it's the last month of the fiscal year. You'll see those changes happen well into when the final audit's completed for that year. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to provide any backup information related to any specific fund information, or address any questions you might have regarding last year's numbers and then 24's numbers as we're finalizing that audit. And with that, Mr. Mayor, that's all I had, unless there's questions.
Any questions for Lisa? Thank you. All right, we are not doing law enforcement tonight. Does any council member have any report from any of the boards that they sit? Okay, hearing none. Is there any request for future agenda items from council? Okay, I'm hearing none. At this point, to the public, we're gonna probably move into executive session here, and when that happens, I'll just wish you a good night and a safe travel home. And for the public out there, please vote. It's important. All right, our next item, as I hinted, is an action item to potentially move into executive session supporting Idaho Code 742061C and also 742061F. Would a council member like to make a motion?
Could we take a short, brief break before we do this?
We can go on a break. How about after the motion, but before we enter executive session?
I make a motion that we go into executive session based on Idaho codes 74-2061C and 1F.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Maybe get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember White? Yes. Councilmember DePreez?
Yes.
Council President Roder?
Yes.
Okay, let's reconvene at 1:45.
Thank you.